Hello, and welcome to the Joy at Work podcast. I'm Lucia Knight, and here's this week's question from a listener.
Hi, I'm in my late 40s, and last week I was made redundant. First time that's ever happened. I'd been at the company for 13 years, and honestly, I didn't see it coming. Turned up for my usual one-to-one with my boss, and well, he wasn't there. It was HR instead. I'm embarrassed to say that it took me a minute or two to get what was happening. They asked me to leave straight away, walked me back to my desk, and that was that. I've been at home for a week now, trying to get my head around it. I don't know what I'm supposed to do next.
In my former career, I've been the person on the other end of the phone, thousands of times, no exaggeration, speaking to clever, experienced, deeply talented professionals who had just been unexpectedly exited from the companies they gave years of their precious lives to. When I say the word exit, I mean their role was made redundant. They've been laid off from a company that was going through downsizing, right-sizing, reshaping. And here's what I wish I had back then, a way to emotionally help people prepare for what happens when you get surprised by an exit. Because here's the truth, great people exit companies every day. And in this economic climate, I see no reason that trend's gonna slow. It's become part of the way we do business. So let's reframe it. Imagine this. You've been in a long-term relationship. You've had plenty of ups and downs like all couples, but things are going well. Just last week, you were planning your next holiday together. Then today, you walk in the door from work and boom, your partner says it's over. Not only that, but you discover during the conversation that they've been planning this for months. They've even told all your mutual friends. You just didn't notice. That's what a surprise exit feels like. A relationship ended, and one side forgot to tell the other until it was already over. What happens next? You're left to guzzle an emotional cocktail you didn't order. When talking about redundancy, layoffs, downsizing, or reshaping, whatever you call it, over the years, I've seen these emotional reactions fall into three categories. Here are the three categories and the language I've heard people use to display these emotions. Number one, fear-based emotions. A flash of fear hits fast like an electric shock, and then it spreads. These fear-based emotions always come first, but they can also be peppered throughout a period of processing what's just happened. Anger. They can't do this to me. It's wrong. I'm going to fight it. Anxiety. How will we survive without my salary? We've got school fees, birthdays, the mortgage. Doubt. Is this the end of my career? Bloody hell, am I now corporate toast? Low mood. I just want to get into bed and stay there while this blows over. The second kind of emotions are pain-based emotions. These are slower burning feelings, but they cut just as deeply. Broken trust. I'll never give a company this much of me ever again. Worry. Will I ever find a role that pays as well or gives me insert things I really enjoyed? Dented confidence. Was I just deluded? Maybe I wasn't as good as I thought. Anger again. How could they do this to me after all those years, all those late nights and weekends? Then finally, the third type of emotional reaction I notice are shame-based emotions. Now, these ones we don't talk about enough, but they can be like hot coals seared into self-esteem and self-confidence, and it can take years for the scars to heal. Early shame. What will people think? What do I even tell them? Self-bashing. I should have seen it coming. I should have known. I should have been better prepared. Imposter syndrome. Oh, it was only a matter of time. I always knew this would happen, just not now. And resignation. I guess I'll just have to start applying to jobs on LinkedIn. Any jobs. Now, not everyone is hit by the emotional roller coaster that we're talking about. I bet you know a story of someone who breezed through a surprise exit, layoff, or redundancy. In my experience, the emotional dips and dives are less painful if the individual has been gifted any or all of the following: a generous payout, plenty of paid gardening leave, a long-standing network ready to help, or, and this one doesn't happen too often, a heads up from someone on the inside so that it reduces the surprise. Those circumstances are rare. For the rest, it's usually a situation when we're caught off guard. And when we're surprised with bad news, we feel vulnerable, stripped of our precious feeling of control over our lives. When this happens, our nervous system goes into overdrive. That's why preparing emotionally, financially, and mentally before anything happens is the best defense. If you're listening to this and haven't experienced redundancy, being laid off, or exited yet, don't wait for the surprise. Lift your head up from your daily work and start thinking about designing or learning how to design your next decade of work life, to make sure it fits you, to make sure you have a plan B in place if or when your current plan takes a turn you didn't expect. And if you have just experienced a surprise redundancy or layoff, like our listener, here's what I recommend. Step 1, pause. Give yourself permission not to know what to do. You've just been hit. Let the shock pass. Give yourself some time to have a break from the world, to move your body more than you normally do. By moving your body, it helps you process, walk, and think on repeat. You might feel like talking about it, but most people need a little time alone first, walking and thinking, processing, deciding what language to use to communicate what's happened beyond your loved ones in a way that makes sense to you. Don't make any decisions about actions yet. I know you want to have a plan of action yesterday, but instead give yourself a little time to walk and think, walk and process. Step 2, mourn, then move. Move into designing the next chapter of your career story. Yes, mourn. It was a big chapter in your life. It deserves its place. But don't build and settle long term into your house of mourning. This is the end of a chapter in your career, not the end of your career story. So when you feel some of the dust settling, it's time to do some research to decide and answer one question. Do you simply need a new job, or do you need a new strategy for the remainder of your career? I've included a link in the show notes to a short video to help you answer that question. Now, if you decide you simply need a new job that's similar, get out into the world and get recommendations for good or great headhunters, brilliant recruiters who are well respected at your level, in your specialism, or across your industry. Invest some time redesigning your CV or resume and have a conversation with people who know you well and your work well across your industry. And if you decide you need a new career strategy, start a research project on how to go about designing the rest of your career to be deeply satisfying, meaningful, and enjoyable to you. A good place to start is the Midlife Unstuck website. For almost a decade now, I've been writing articles and creating resources and programs to help professionals who want to actively build and implement more joy into their work for the remainder of their work lives. In the show notes, I'll include a link to an article called The Emotional Anatomy of a Redundancy or Other Surprise Exits, and a link to all the articles I've written on career design for professionals in their 40s and 50s who want to optimize for satisfaction, fulfillment, and you guessed it, joy. Here's the big truth I want to leave you with today. You can't control every eventuality in your career, but you can design a future where you're valued, in demand, and dynamic enough to pivot regularly without breaking. If you know someone who has experienced a surprise exit recently, share this with them now. And maybe this isn't the end. Maybe it's the beginning of your best career chapter yet.